Real quick, if you're looking for a different kind of film study, check out my movie channel. The link is in the description, so you can just click on it right there. I have a Dune 2 review on there. I have a Christopher Nolan tier list, a Quentin Tarantino tier list, a lot of other fun stuff. Check it out if you want. And anyway, let's get back to your regularly scheduled video. All right, let's talk about Danielle Hunter of the formerly of the Minnesota Vikings, I should say, now of the Houston Texans. Houston, this is kind of their big ticket free agent, their big splash move, and it is interesting. So we'll kind of get into, I think, maybe some contract details at the end, but for now I want to talk about just what he is as a player and what that could bring to the Houston Texans. So, for example, this play, he's actually going to be lined up as an interior defensive lineman here. It's not something he does a ton for Minnesota, but he will do this every now and then, line up on the inside. He's doing it on this play, and let's see what happens. So, Hurts is going to take the snap, and you see right here, looks like he's kind of trying to get towards the outside. Well, Hunter is going to pull off a move here that is, I would say, the most difficult move to pull off, but also the most, any offensive lineman will tell you the toughest move to stop is going to be a spin move. Watch him be able to quickly get around, and he gets to Jalen Hurts for the sack right there. He still is very capable of doing that, and it's a very deadly move that can beat even the best offensive linemen. So that's certainly something that is something he's going to bring to the table, and you probably will see him pull this off a couple times next year with Houston. Another thing I just love about Hunter is his, willingness to his drive, his motor. He's a really high motor player, and I think this one's a good example where he's going to start off getting double teamed on this play. It's just a 3-man rush as it's a 2nd down and 20 situation. So, okay, only rushing 3. For Hunter, he's obviously going to get extra attention in this scenario, which is what's happening. As you see, when this play begins, it's not working too well. There's 2 Philadelphia, good offensive linemen who are blocking him. What are you going to do? Can't really blame him for this situation. Hunter is going to try and, get towards the outside, but again, Philadelphia kind of well over it, prepared for this stuff. Again, you got 2 good offensive linemen on you. Not only so much you can do here, but what I like about this from Hunter is how many guys would kind of just say, well, I guess I'm out of the play at this point. Hunter is someone who never quits on a play, which I think for a team like Houston, they really value. Watch him then rush back, and he is going to get to Jalen Hurts and gets a sack right there. So, again, I think some people could use this as a criticism in the sense of it did feel like a good number of his sacks last year were more cleanup sacks, but while cleanup sacks are a little bit, I don't really weigh those as highly as just beating a tackle right off the line and getting the pressure right away. It is still worth mentioning that a cleanup sack is still a good play, right? You're still usually having a high motor and hustling very hard and finding a way to still impact the play. It's still a good play to get a cleanup sack. Yes, it's not quite as good as the immediate pressure, but it's still impactful. So now let's go to the very next play. So, okay, now it's a 3rd down and 23, but yardage still matters here, right? As Philadelphia, who is currently up 13 points in this game, they'd like to be able to kick a field goal here. And so, again, Minnesota, they're just running a 3-man rush here to try to make sure to have enough guys in coverage. And you have, once again, multiple players who are going to block Danielle Hunter. Makes sense. Well, when this play begins, watch how he handles things this time. Now he kind of knows what to expect a little bit. And the guard is a little bit slow in getting over there because of how much Hunter went towards the outside. The issue is with Hunter going this far to the outside, the left tackle can kind of be prepared for that, and he can get towards the outside as well, and Hunter probably can't pull off like an outside move here. So instead, watch him kind of use his left arm and shove towards the right shoulder pad of the left tackle, and he's going to try to drive him back and really succeeds here. I would say right now, regardless of how this play ends, Hunter's already done a pretty good job at just disrupting the play, which is a lot of times what you want a pass rusher to do. Now, there is the risk factor here, right? Hurts is a mobile quarterback, and kind of the last thing you want on a 3rd and very long situation would be to allow Hurts to get outside the pocket where maybe you could have time to get a big completion, or maybe he could just scramble out and pick up enough yards to make it an easy field goal situation. But when Hurts tries to scramble, Hunter reaches out, grabs him, gets the sack, and they are just completely out of field goal range altogether in this spot. So really important play in the game, but also a really well done play by Danielle Hunter. I also think what he can do in the running game is very good, and this is going to be an example. We're going up against a tight end, which, okay, not exactly the toughest matchup in the world, but it is worth mentioning, I think, that, when you're in the running game, like there are times as an edge rusher, you go up against tight ends. That's kind of how that works sometimes. Watch as when this play begins. You see that right here. Again, Hunter's hands, he's really improved a lot, right? Because kind of his knock coming out of college, well, he didn't have the best hands, which is very funny to think about now because he definitely can use them to his benefit. I still don't know if I would say he's like the best technician in the league. He does kind of sometimes rely on athleticism, but definitely still has really good hands. Of course, that's so important because, Hunter's grabbing onto the tight end's left arm, and that left arm is very important here. That's kind of what you want to use to be able to block Hunter, and since he can't do that, watch Hunter be able to get off this block. He goes over and helps make that tackle, and they didn't get a touchdown there. I don't know if they would have gotten a touchdown if Hunter wasn't able to get into the play. Maybe it still would have gone the same way, but still always nice to be able to make the play. Also heading over to this play. So what's going to happen here is, so that's going to be the key block. Once again, it's a tight end on Hunter, as this is once again going to be a run defense play. I really do feel like run defense, one of the real underrated aspects of what an edge rusher does. I think it's very important to be able to stop the run as an edge rusher, and Hunter can certainly do it. This is going to be a pitch play, so Hunter is important on this one, but usually not that important, because usually kind of what happens is that the running back kind of can just read where Hunter is and just run to the opposite direction. If Hunter goes too far towards the sideline, you just cut a little bit earlier. If Hunter goes a little bit closer towards the middle of the field, you just cut a little bit later. Kind of simple. However, when this play begins, watch Hunter and how far back he drives that tight end. I mean, they're now like 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage at this point. So the running back just has to make his call far earlier in this situation. So because of that, Hunter has, again, already positively impacted the play, and he hasn't even touched anybody yet. That gives time for a different Minnesota player to kind of disrupt the halfback, and Hunter, again, actually got credit for the tackle on that one, interestingly enough. Again, kind of goes to show his, his drive and his hustle to still find a way to impact the play, but it just goes to show he's a tough block. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, he's a tough block. Now, again, I think it is fair to say a little bit that, he had that 16 sack season last year. I don't know if that's fully repeatable. I mean, his advanced stats kind of showed that he's still a really good player, but maybe not quite a 16 sack guy. But at the same time, if we look at his contract, it doesn't really seem like he was paid like a 16 sack guy, right? It seems like the Texans are smart and kind of paying him, what you should pay for a player of his caliber, which is, definitely paying him some money, right? But you look at the cap number. Now, granted, $10.5 million of it is going to be in a void year, which those are always it hurts you down the line. But at the same time, you have CJ Stroud on a rookie deal. Take advantage of it while you can. Makes sense. And you see, I mean, the other a cap hit of $15 million this year and $25 million next year. That's not crazy. The $20 million a year for the next 2 years and then a $10 million void for someone like his caliber. Don't get me wrong. You're paying him money. Like, you're not like he's not someone that you're just taking a flyer on or anything like that. But when it's just a 2-year deal and he's 30, this is a very low risk, high reward move. I mean, yeah, it would be suck if he doesn't play very well next year, but I don't really see a scenario where that happens. And the fact that they didn't do a Von Miller situation where they're giving him a ton of years, and while they're giving him the high money, they're not doing it for a ton of years, which I think is the real bright side of this contract, as it won't sink them if he does take a step back. But also, he's just 30, and I see no reason why he would take a step back. I expect him to be a double-digit sack guy next year. And oh yeah, by the way, he's playing against Will Anderson. That's pretty cool. Or not playing against him, playing across Will Anderson. That should be pretty fun to watch. And they have a great secondary too, so they'll have time to get to the quarterback. A lot of fun stuff. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.